are back. I guess it's time to get this show started, shall we? Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get this show on a roll, shall we? Oh, that was the wrong one. All right, folks, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the one and only world-famous Rich Wilson show, and it starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world-famous Rich Wilson show.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the world-famous Rich Wilson show. I'm Rich Wilson, and you're not. And let me tell you, based on the last couple months of my life, be glad you're not. I have had so much crap poked, prodded, and everything else shoved into me, and it's just been nuts. Anyway, so how are you guys doing? I see I've got Super Dave out there in the chat room hanging out, and he's all by himself. Folks, what just transpired, and I'm trying to figure out why my camera is so damn delayed. It's really weird. I don't understand it. I need to take a look at this real quick. For some reason, this is just this looks horrible. I don't know if it looks horrible to you guys out there, but it looks just absolutely disastrous on my end. No, I've got everything set up to be the way that it is, so it is what it is. Wait a minute, time out. I think I saw something that kind of bothered me. Okay, so let me know, Dave, if you hear double on here. I don't know if that's the case. It's been a while and a lot of things updated, and I'm still trying to get all that crap figured out. But anyway, let's talk about one of the things that happened today. The House Ways and Means Committee decided that President Trump's tax returns can now be public. Okay, great. So this is what we figured out so far. Orange man bad. Okay, we've spent millions and millions of dollars on this. The January 6th committee came out with a recommendation of 4 charges against the man. Meanwhile, we have a heating oil crisis in the United States of America. We're about to have one of the worst storms we've had in over 10 years sweep through this country. Let's see. They're trying to claim that diesel price or that fuel prices are an all-time low, which that's also wrong. When diesel prices still haven't dropped, and the only reason why gasoline prices dropped is because we keep releasing more and more of our strategic oil reserves. But the problem is, we can only release so much before we're out. In fact, we're at the lowest our strategic oil reserves have been since the gas crisis. So that's pretty damn bad. Here's the next problem so like I said, Orange man bad. We've spent millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars of your money, the taxpayers' money, your money, has gone to saying that Donald Trump's a bad guy. Okay? And then we're gonna put these 4 charges out. And then that's what we're gonna do about this. Okay? And then what? We spent all this money on this. What's next? Oh, well, the Justice Department can then now decide with their committee if they're going to go forth and press charges against him. And then what? See, what's going on with that is they are so scared to death that he's going to be back in office. Not because he's a threat to you or I, because in fact, during the 4 years of his administration, you and I weren't really hurting. But he's a threat to them. And when you have this kind of a concerted effort by the U.S. government to take an individual down, which they, for some reason, have not been successful at taking down, by the way, that's a problem. Okay, that's a huge, huge problem. Okay. I don't even know why I'm not following this guy, by the way. I'm just looking at some stuff popping up on the other screen. But it's not a problem of that individual. It's a problem about the government. Because if they're that scared to death of an individual coming into their house to take over, then you need to be concerned about the government. And a lot of people sitting there going, well, the government has my thoughts, and what's best for me and at heart. No, they don't. They have themselves. On this show before, I've told you about how they make all kinds of money being in the government. They're not looking out for you. If they were looking out for you, we wouldn't have a failing transportation system. We wouldn't have a failing supply chain system. Oh, and the president said today that he has strengthened our supply chain. No, actually he hasn't. What he has done is caused prices and regulations to go through the roof to the point that independent truckers are being regulated right out. They're being regulated right out. Period. So that's another problem you have. But like I said, the problem is, okay, Orange Man bad. What does that do? Well, we could prohibit him from running for office and being eligible for office again. We could put him in prison. You really think they're going to put him in prison? Do you? Do you guys think that? If anybody here legitimately thinks that the government is going to put Donald J. Trump into prison, that's cool. I've got a property I swear to God is worth $50 million, and I'll sell it to you for $100,000 just for you. Just for you, I'll put it on sale. No, they're not going to put him in there. It was a dog and pony show. That's all it was. All it was is to make people think, oh, they have our interest in thought at heart. No, they didn't. They never did. They were mad because he came in there and he said things they didn't like, and he ended up he ended up threatening their well-being as these people who run the government. And he was a threat to them. And so now, and because they couldn't keep him from getting into office the first time, they have to make up for it. I mean, hell, we saw, if you look at the Twitter dump files, what they've done. And we're going to get into that. We're not tonight. I'm kind of I don't want this to end up being like an hour and a half show. People, the analytics say people tune out after about 20 minutes. Okay. So they're not going to put him in prison. Just forget that. I don't care. If you hate the man or you love the man, he's not going to go to prison. Can they prohibit him from running for office? Sure they can. Sure they can. They very much well can do that. That's still up there pretty high. Can they do that? Yeah, they can. But he's not going to be in prison, so all these hundreds of millions of dollars did nothing. And what do you need to do as a person, as a voter? These people that represent you. And here's a bad part. 3 of the people on that committee didn't even get reelected. So the whole thing failed. But what can you do as a person? Hold your representatives accountable. Call their offices and ask, why did hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars, my dollars, and everybody else's dollars go to this? What is the people of the United States going to get out of this? That's the question you should be asking. What are they going to get? What are we going to get out of this? We're not going to get anything out of this. It's going to be a bunch of them. We're going to sit there and thump their chest going, no, we proved Orange Man bad. But you, the individual, is getting nothing. I've been seeing where people are like, well, we should let the government handle this because, the government did this. They're not doing anything for you. Joe Biden said he created 10.9 million jobs. No, he didn't. 90% of the jobs they're claiming they created already existed. But here's the problem, right? The reason why everybody's hurting is they're out of control spending and inflation. I mean, come on, the House just sent up a $1.7 trillion omnibus spending bill. Okay. It's causing inflation to skyrocket because they're putting more and more money into the market, which is devaluing it, right? So the 90% of those 10.9 million jobs that he claims he created that existed prior to the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, those jobs were worth something. You made money, you paid your bills and all that. And then after the pandemic is over and they've gone out of control with all this goddamn spending, what has ended up happening? You went back to this job and you were making decent money before. You're making the same money now, but your ass is broke. Why? All they've done is created a larger, impoverished group of people. There's people that are making $80,000 a year right now that can barely make ends meet. But they were making ends meet before. Same job. They're now not making ends meet. Because they're not doing anything for you. They've done nothing for you. Okay? Part of the reason why things cost so damn much right now is because there is still an interruption in our supply chain. Well, I mean, come on. We've got Pete Buttigieg to the rescue. That man doesn't know how to organize a group of people to transport food to a picnic. He has no business being the transportation secretary. Why? I on this show, I gave them very simple steps on how they could fix this. Allow the independent truckers to go into the shipping yards to be able to run containers. But no, we can't do that. And because Biden, on all of his strengthening of America, said behind supporting unions. Okay, there are some unions out there that are actually pretty good, and there are some that are really bad. I'll tell you one that's gone really sideways is the trucking union. The reason why independent truckers cannot get into the ports. Okay? During the pandemic, they couldn't get into the ports to help maintain the flow of this. Nope, the only ones that were allowed in there are the big union-backed trucking companies. That would be Swift. That would be J.B. Hunt Schneider. That would be, all those guys. Okay, you see their trucks. There's a million of them on the road every time you turn around. I mean, hell, Swift's killed more people than cancer. That's an opinion. It's not actual fact, but still, okay? And I said how to fix this. Tell the unions to shut up because you guys already passed the emergency acts that allowed you to make decisions. Tell these people to shut up and to go ahead and, let the independent truckers in. But no, we couldn't do that. By the way, just in case you're wondering, independent truckers have been run out of the system quite heavily. And here's the reason why. Right now, Swift and Schneider and all of them are getting subsidies and credits towards the cost of their fuel for their trucks. Independent truckers aren't. So how do we fix this, Rich? What do we do? Start calling your representatives and saying, hey, get these people out of here. We need to fix this. The reason why we can't get stuff is because old Mayor Pete up there is more worried about taking time off with his husband to spend time with his kid. Biden's more worried about spending time in Rehoboth than he is in Washington, D.C. In fact, if you look, half of our government has been checked out for the last 2 years. Why don't you start asking your congressmen, your senators, why? Why is this a problem? We didn't have this problem before. Well, they're going to tell you the pandemic. Okay, but we're out of the pandemic. Why haven't we fixed it? See, the most powerful statements that you can make in this situation is asking the question why. And then when they tell you, oh, what do you know, because this, then you look at them, since they're not really going to answer as to that, then you go, who? What? How? Who, what, how? Well, who's going to fix it? Well, we're going to fix it. How are you going to fix it? We're going to, we're going to get together and we're going to discuss this. That's not fixing the problem. When they tell you that we're going to put together a committee so we can look at comprehensive reform, that's them telling you they're not going to do shit. Okay, folks? Let's not dwell around in the bullshit. I do apologize for my language. But let's not dwell around in the garbage. When they tell you, well, we're going to put together a committee to look at the possibility of comprehensive reform and a way to fix this, they're not fixing anything. They're not fixing anything. Okay? That's them blowing you smoke up your butt to make you think they're doing something. And the worst part is people have gotten lazy. People have gotten horrifically lazy, and they've expected, and what they do is they look for answers. They expect answers. They look for somebody else to solve the problem. When the problem is you looking for somebody else to solve your problem. You have to solve the problem, and you're like, how do I solve the problem? I told you. Start holding your representatives accountable. Why? Because, folks, that representative represents you, not the masses. You, the individual. Whether you voted for them or not, they're still your representative. Okay, let me say that again for you. For those of you sitting in the back that aren't paying attention, they're your representative. Your, meaning you, the individual. They represent you in Washington, D.C. They represent your interests in Washington, D.C. And if they're not representing your interests, then you need to have a conversation with them. And it's real simple. You're like, oh, well, how do I do that? Find out who your representative is. First of all, if you're voting, you should know who your representative is. There's a lot of people out there who make this mistake too. Well, I'm just going to vote for the Democrats because I was told the Republicans are horrible Nazis. Well, they're not horrible Nazis. Not like all Democrats are not, all Stalinists. Okay? What you need to do is you go, okay, these individuals, because guess what? When I voted this last time around, got a sample ballot. Or I got told what my district was. I went online and I printed out a sample ballot. It even allowed me to click the points or the people I wanted to vote for, and I was able to walk into my voting place and take that and look at that and go, that's how I said I was going to vote. That's how I said I was going to vote. That's how I said I was going to vote. You're allowed to cheat. You're allowed to cheat when you vote. They made it so simple. It's insane. I sound like Donald Trump. They made it so simple. Everything's so simple. It's amazing. Oh, it's to be the best and easiest election ever. Okay. But you can cheat. You can take in your sheet where you said that this is how you're going to vote. So when you get in there, you know where you're voting. Okay. So if you do that, then you should know who your representative is. I get people all the time that say, well, I don't know who my representative is. And I always follow it up with, did you vote? Well, yeah. How the hell don't you know? You voted. I mean, do you walk into a doctor and say, hey, doc, did you pass all your medical classes? If the doctor looks at you and goes, no, but I'm a doctor. Are you still going to let him work on you? How do you vote and not know who the hell you're voting for? Because a lot of you got told Republicans were bad. So we're going to vote all Democrat. You have no idea who the hell you voted for. Okay? Find out who your representatives are. Then start talking to them. Well, how can I talk to them? They have an office in the district where you live. Call them. Pick up the phone. You sit there and you go, Hey, so y'all did this and I don't like that. So why did you do this? Well, how is that going to help me? Okay. And you're thinking, well, it's not, I don't know anything about that. Really? Okay. Folks, I don't know if you can read that. I hope you can. Somebody want to tell me how $3 million for a bee-friendly highway is going to help you? How about $5 million to, it's $3 million to carry out pollinator-friendly practices on roadsides and highways. $5 million for cooperative series of agreements with universities to look into salmon. And then another $65 million for salmon. And then another $200 million for salmon here. Another $20 million for salmon over there. Salmon actually got mentioned 48 times so far. And Representative Dan Bishop, who I don't know much about the man, I should really study some more on him, is sitting here on his Twitter feed. So if you got Twitter, go to Representative Dan Bishop's Twitter feed and look, he's breaking down the entire thing for you. All of it. I may not agree with this man at all, but he's at least taking the time to break down this damn thing. $575 million going to family planning to go to Planned Parenthood. But this is going to areas where population growth threatens biodiversity. Why is anti-human ideology getting money from the federal government? They're supposed to be representing you. That's the opposite of it. $65 million going in to help rename a building in San Francisco after Nancy Pelosi. The federal government is paying $3 million for an LGBTQ plus museum in New York City. The list goes on and on. An additional $47 billion going to Ukraine. And then they're authorizing a Ukrainian Independence Park in Washington, D.C. It's not Ukrainians are not Americans. There's Ukrainians that now live in America, but now we're creating a Ukrainian Independence Park in Washington, D.C. So $47 billion going to Ukraine, and we're building a Ukrainian Independence Park in D.C. Oh, and we're setting aside funding, which will be determined later, for monuments for journalists and service animals. We're renaming 25 post offices this year in this bill. We're spending a couple $1 million on that. $524.4 million for minority health disparities, and so forth of that nature. Here's an idea. Why don't we spend $524.4 million on trying to make health just better for everyone? That would be somebody representing you. Okay. Where's the other really good one that just blew my mind? Oh, yeah, this one right here. Folks, we're sending $200 million for a gender equity fund to the country of Pakistan. Let me try that with you again. $200 million to gender equality to Pakistan, where women don't have equal rights and they kill gays and transgender people. But we're going to send them this money. Do you think women, transgenders, gays, anybody on the LGBTQ spectrum or any of the genders that exist out there now, do you think they're getting any of that money? No, they're not. Here's another thing. The vaccine's supposed to be great, right? Everything's supposed to be good. You know, we have a Vax Injury Trust Fund that last year we put $13.2 million into, and now we're going to put $15.2 million. They're anticipating a 15% increase in vaccine injuries. I thought the vaccine was safe. Why do we have to have an injury program for it? Oh, this one will get you. $335 million is going to prepare for an influenza pandemic and surveillance tools to be able to watch The internet, cybersecurity increase to watch for misinformation. $7.5 million to understand the domestic radicalization phenomenon, plus $1 million for gun violence research. 7.5 to better understand domestic radicalization, but only $1 million going to gun violence research. CBP is not, it prohibits CBP funding to improve border security. You know how they like to tell it, they've told you that they're all about, more modern ways of patrolling the border. There's better ways, better technology. The CBP's funding cannot go to improving border security. It says it right there. Folks, it is time to wake the hell up. It is seriously time to wake up. None of this benefits you. None of it. $1.7 trillion. Okay? $1.7 trillion. And not a damn bit of it benefits you. None of it. There's going to be people all over the place. They're going to be sitting there going, well, it does this and this. It doesn't benefit you. Right now, a lot of you are sitting there wondering if you're going to freeze to death in the next 4 days. But we need to make sure that we can set aside money for, the federal government is funding organizations that the money's not going to. It's more important that we have a Ukrainian Independence Park, all of this stuff. They're not helping you people wake up. All these people talk about how they're woke. No, they're not. They're asleep. They're being brain fed all this bull crap that's out there when none of it's real. It's not real. They're feeding you all the stuff you have. You guys not seen the Twitter releases? The FBI paid Twitter money to run a PSYOPs campaign through social media? They did. Folks, wake up. Start asking why. Start asking who. Start asking how. Stop being lazy. Okay? Stop looking for everybody else to answer the question. The only people who can answer the question is you. And the only way you can answer those questions is you get informed. And how do you get informed? Start reading about the things that they're doing. Everything the government does is available for you to read. Every bit of it. You can go look at all this stuff. And then start asking your representatives, why are we doing this? Why are we spending this? Why are we paying for this? The most destructive word is lazy. And that's what a lot of people have become because they're expecting everything. They have their hands out. No, give me all the information. Give me the information. Y'all need to break this cycle quickly. Because if this keeps up, there will be nothing left but the government controlling everything. And for those of you who keep thinking, well, the government's going to fix it, I should let the government do it. Well, they say those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Y'all should really start reading what happened to Germany when the Nazis came to power. The government will fix it. And the government came in, we'll fix it. You put us in power, we'll fix it. We'll do this, we'll fix it. Yeah, that worked out great, didn't it? Just ask every single country that believed into the government's going to fix everything and how that worked out for them. Folks, our founding fathers did not create this country for the government to do everything for us. The government was supposed to do just a couple simple things. I know. It's written right here. I've got a book. The U.S. Constitution and the other writings, which includes the Articles of Confederation. It breaks down the whole system of government. They're supposed to pass a basic set of laws that you can follow. Regulate interstate commerce because states don't screw each other. And create a defense force. Well, and interstate commerce, by the way, some people are like, and the money. Yes, that's part of interstate commerce is regulating money. Okay? And create a defense force to protect you. That was their job. Everything else was supposed to be up to us. Everything else. Somebody's going to use the same stupid question. Well, if we put it in the hands of the people, then we'll get Jim Crow all over again. No, you won't. Stop that. Okay. Folks, wake up. Start holding these people accountable. Start pushing your representatives to start. You know what would be great? Term limits. That'd be a great start to things, but that's in the future. We need to focus on right now. People can't afford to eat. People can't afford to put gas in their cars. People can't afford to heat their homes. Like I said, we're about to have the worst storm we've had in a decade roll through this country, and people don't have fuel oil to heat their homes. But we're going to be more worried about sending $200 million to Pakistan for gender studies when they kill people who don't believe in the things they believe in. We do this all the time. Stop. Stop them. Start calling your representatives and say, I have this problem. How are you going to fix it? Like I said, when they turn around and go, well, what we need to do is put together a committee so we can discuss comprehensive reform. Stop them right there when they start saying that shit and go, no. Don't feed me a line of crap. Stop. That's not answering my question. How are you going to fix it? What are you going to do to fix this problem? And when they don't have an answer, you're going to go, fine. You have told me that I need to start looking at somebody else when you run for re-election because obviously you don't have my intentions at heart. They say, well, yes, you should vote for me. And both sides do it. You should vote for me. I'll fix your problems. Ask them how. How are you going to fix the problem? Well, I'm going to put bipartisan legislation together to put to... Stop them right there. Because now they're taking you down the road of the word salad to get you so lost in it you don't even know what you asked in the first place. Stop them right there. What bill are you going to propose that's going to fix this? Well, we need to have a committee. No, you don't. You don't have to have a committee to propose a bill. You don't. You work with somebody to co-sponsor the bill. You put together a bill to fix the problem. You put it up for an up or down vote. If it fails, you bring it back to the floor for discussion to find out why it failed. That's how government works. And if they don't have that answer, and if they tell you that it's going to be this long, complicated mess, and that you don't understand it, boom, do not vote for that person again. If any politician looks at you and tells you you don't understand the process, you got two options at that point. Either you never vote for them again, or you make them explain the process to you. And if they refuse to explain the process, now you only have one option left. You don't vote for them. Folks, you need to hold these people accountable for their actions. They're your representatives. $1.7 trillion to go to everything but to help the individuals. Because here's the other problem. Here's a hole in the logic when they say that this is all going to help. It's going to help these groups. But so many other groups are left out. They say that the individuals have a voice. But then when they pass these things, it's only for groups. and other groups get left out. They keep talking about fairness and equality and all this, but when you look at these bills, they're not fair. They're not equal. There is no fairness and equality. There is none. It's a myth. When it comes to the government, it's a myth. Stop buying into it. Stop being lazy. Stop walking into polling places and go, well, they told me that all the Republicans are bad, so I'm just going to vote Democrat. They told me all Democrats are bad, so I'm just going to vote Republican. That's how this country is getting screwed up, people. That's how this whole thing's getting messed up. You need to take the time to understand who your representatives are. Understand what they actually stand for. Here's another problem that you didn't understand, right? Twitter and all this stuff about how we found out about the FBI has done done psyops in order to screw with the election. We're finding out with the Twitter releases that it's actually true. And now you had the DNC actually legitimately, publicly screw with an election at a state level, and nobody gave a damn. They're not looking out for you. They're not. You need to hold these people accountable for their actions. You need to hold their feet to the fire, and you need to explain to them, you are supposed to have my interest. You are representing me in D.C. You are representing me. Why am I not? Why am I hurting over here? Why should $200 million go to a foreign country? $47 billion go to a foreign country? Why does all this have to go here and all go there? And they're going to tell you, well, we need to protect your interests here in the United States. Really? By funding a war between two people that we're not even technically in. I get it if we were actually fighting in the war. We're not. And where do you think all this money is going? I hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but the problem is this isn't a conspiracy. It's not. I said I wasn't going to take that long, and I did. Folks, you need to ask. You need to start asking why. You need to start asking how. You need to start asking who. You need to know these people that are supposed to be your representatives. Would you hire a lawyer and never talk to them? Because that's what you did. I've walked up to people and said, would you, if you wanted to sue somebody, would you just blindly hire a lawyer and never once talk to them? Just hope they go to court and get you what you want? Would you do that? Because that's what you did when you vote for these people and you have no idea who they are, and you listen to what other people tell you that they are. Oh, my mama said that I could go over and this lawyer would help me out, so I'm just going to send him a blank check and tell him sue this company for this reason, and we'll just hope out for the best. Would you do that? But you've done that with Washington, D.C. You literally know nothing about these individuals. You blank vote simply because somebody told you to. You've hired a bunch of lawyers to do the bidding for you, and they're not doing anything for you. Isn't it time to fire the lawyers? Because that's what they are, folks. They're lawyers. Start asking questions. The most dangerous weapon against people trying to rule over you is knowledge. That's how you fix a problem. All these other shows talk about all the problems. They'll tell you all about the conspiracies, tell you all this, but they don't tell you how to fix it. I'm telling you how to fix it. Knowledge. Research. Speak to your representatives. Don't send them an email and hope you get it back, because you're going to get some stupid automated response. Actually go talk to your representatives. Hell, get yourself on the list to get to the White House. You might get lucky. Don't go on the weekend because Brainless won't be there, but try. Raise a fuss. We don't have to overthrow a government to fix this. At least not with weapons. Use the most powerful weapon you have. Use your brain. That's how you fix this problem. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's the show for tonight. I'm not going to... I didn't do much show prep. I just kind of wanted to get out there and make sure everything worked again, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you learned something tonight. Okay? Knowledge is power, and that's what they fear. Folks, have yourself a good night. We'll see you on the other side. I hope I'll be able to do these a lot more regular now, and we'll see you later. Have yourself a good night. Thanks, Super Dave, for being in the chat. We'll catch you guys later.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.